and just want to make sure that this is live, actually. Am I live? I should be live. Let me know if you're here. Pop your name in the comments. Say hello so I know who's watching. And we will get going on today's topic. Oh, somebody's here. Monique is watching. Good. Okay, so I am live. You never know with technology, you know. It can be so if so, fact so. So, welcome. Hi, Monique. How are you? How's Muskoka today? It's pretty snowy, pretty cold, and oh my goodness, I see my neighbor on his way over here at the moment, and he's just about to snow blow my driveway. So, kind man. It's been snowing every single day. So, I don't think it's gonna cause any kind of distraction. New snow. You got some new snow today. That's awesome. That's so great. Good. So, yeah, I always love to kind of get started when people are jumping on and just talk about the weather while we're waiting for people to jump on. So, hi Betty, nice to see you. You're in Muskoka too, so I understand you've got new snow today, which is just great. All right, and at the same time, I have a lot of respect for your time as well. So we will jump in. Hi, Eddie. All right, good. Eddie from Sweden and Betty and Monique from Muskoka. Okay, so today on day 4 of Express Your Genius 5-day challenge, the topic is recalibration. And how do we recalibrate? Hi, Stuart, nice to see you. Nice to see you. I don't know what it's doing there. Is it snowing in, I think you're in Oakville. Hi, Vicky, nice to see you. You're in north of Huntsville, aren't you? New snow probably for you too. So, nevertheless, today's topic is recalibration. And I really want to actually celebrate before we get started today, because there's been a lot of really cool stuff happening. There's been a lot of activity. There's been a lot of activation. There's been a lot of people activated. And as a result, there's been a lot of things to celebrate. Like, for instance, Eddie, you're here. You had shared that you are taking a course that you've for a long time been putting off, and that you've finally taken the leap and investing in yourself, and I'm really happy for you. And so jumping without knowing how the net is going to catch you or where. We've had a member in here who had 2 clients book with her, buy from her, purchase her program right after she came up with a title of the program during one of the live streams earlier in the week. And then yesterday, two of the new clients who have jumped on board with her, and she earned $12,000 within the hour during the live stream. We've had someone wake up with downloads night after night, and intuitive hits dropping through and really revealing what it is that she needs to know. What else? We've had someone who's calculated that she's earned more this month than she has in last year in the period of 3 months. And I had a client this morning actually who, as a result of working with this content and with this and with me, he has downloaded an entire song. And he had kind of, songwriting block for a really long time. So great things to celebrate. I'm really happy for people, and, cheer each other on. And if something hasn't manifested like that for you, it doesn't mean anything. It just means that you are in this highly activated container right now, and you can really get the most out of it by engaging and by sharing the answers to your prompts. That's one thing that can activate you, is that when you share and when you express the answers to the prompts, what you're doing is you're moving the energy from in to out, and as a result of moving the energy, then there's more flow that's coming in. So anyway, congratulations to all of these people and to all that's happening in here. So I wanted to start today with and on the topic of recalibration, and I wanted to share with you how this recalibrating this tool of recalibration has actually emerged in me, because it's something that I haven't made up the word recalibration, but I have designed and created recalibration tools in order to move forward in my life. And I want to share that with you because I think it's going to be really helpful. And so first of all, to say that in each chapter of life, and as life has unfolded for me, as I was reflecting on this, when there was a transition, when there was a change, when there was an event, when there was an adversity, when there was a tragedy, when there was a choice point, a turning point, a fork in the road, that always tends to pull us out. So these are the sort of, basic, this is the basic path, not so basic, but this is the path that has kind of led me here. And so, on the heels of a really volatile childhood where I would hide and stay away from home as much as possible in order to feel and remain safe, I then moved into adulthood, and in early adulthood there was this huge change and there was this huge transition into independence. And so I had to really find ways to recalibrate and recenter and bring myself into a place where I could keep moving forward and do it functionally and do it clearly. And for some reason, I have always been wired, and this is my genius, and it doesn't matter why, it's just part of my genius, is that I've always been wired to dig deep and look underneath to see, okay, how can I find that connection back to myself? Because this is horrible, this is not working, and I've been pulled out. How do I find that connection? So as I was reflecting, I was remembering that inside of all these junctures throughout life, that was always top of mind for me. That was always the question, and the biggest commitment to myself was, okay, how do I find my way back? And then, I was 25 at the time, so in early adulthood, when my sister was diagnosed as HIV positive, and at that time there were no medical treatments. And so therefore she had a fatal terminal illness that ensued over the next 10 years. And watching and witnessing, and that whole experience pulled me down, man. Like, it pulled me right down to the bottom. And throughout that time, I remember, finding ways every day. And I remember every Friday night, lighting a fire, and like all these little rituals that I would have for myself to just pull myself back into a place of being able to have the capacity to just recenter and just come back, even for a brief moment, in the context of this devastating pain that was constant, and turn my hair white. And then, on the heels of that, I became a parent. So now another transition and another new chapter where I needed to really readjust my framework, my mindset, my paradigm, who I was, how I was operating as a parent. And so again, because of this huge, shocking, becoming a parent, for some of you who are parents or who have parented, that it's quite a significant shift in your life and in your identity. So again, recalibrating and learning how to recalibrate in the context of raising kids, which is very, very challenging, can be very challenging, as rewarding and challenging equally so. And then from there, the next change, shift, transition happened when I decided to go from my career after 20 years as a career practitioner and launch into entrepreneurship. Huge jump off the cliff, and huge leap, and again, huge change, and the recalibration required to do that was immense. And so, and then of course the last piece that I've written down here is following that, I then moved across the country, because our vision, my husband and I's vision, was always to come back to the mountains where our kids were born and we were married, and where we feel so grounded in the earth and the natural surroundings. And so that was a huge shift, requiring more calibration. And so I share this with you for two reasons. And the first reason is, here's what I learned about the necessity and the importance of recalibrating and coming back into center and finding ways to do that, and why I now teach people how to do that. But here's why I have found what I have learned is most important about it. It is that the greater the distance you become from yourself, from your higher knowing, from your divine true nature, your genius nature, the farther the distance that occurs or that is created between you, your physical self, your physical human, and your higher divine nature, the greater the pain. And the greater the pain of being separated from yourself, the greater the commitment becomes, and the greater the gravity of needing to reconnect becomes. And this is why, I'm going to say we all know, because I believe that we've all experienced our own flavor of adversity and tragedy and pain and all of that stuff. And we, I think as a human species have come to a level of awareness that these are wake-up calls. And if we don't wake up to ourselves, to reconnecting with ourselves, these situations and events and adversities will come knocking on our door. And that's not to say that when we reconnect there will be no longer any adversity happen. That's not to say that at all. But it's to say that the more you learn to recalibrate and come back into that center point of integrity with your soul, the easier and swifter the ride will be when you are needing to come back. And so that is why the connection is so essential, and it's so key. And so, that's my goal, is to offer a swifter return, and to, facilitates part of my mission on this planet is to offer that swifter return. Oh my God, I totally get that feeling. Thank you for making me aware of it. Yeah. Nice shirt top, or what they are called. I like the pattern. Oh, thanks, Eddie. Yeah, thank you. And so, hello, Stuart. Hello, Eddie. Hello, Rebecca. Nice to see you here. All right, so far in this challenge, we've talked about the what your genius intuition is, and why it's important, and how to activate your genius, and how to activate that flow and open up the channel to your genius. We talked about building and maintaining a relationship with your higher knowing, with your higher intuitive knowing, and the importance of building and maintaining that relationship. And we talked about yesterday about common fears that actually pull us out from, or pull us away from expressing our genius, because it's in the expression of the genius. I cannot say this enough, but it's in the expression of the genius that we set ourselves free, because we're moving energy, that we're moving the dense energy of fear through. So we talked about fears around expressing your genius, and we talked about fears around relying on your intuition as the most reliable resource that you have. Hi, Marie. Nice to see you. So today we're going to talk about 3 ways to recalibrate when fears pull us out. And I want to say that recalibrating it's an art, and it's really, really, really essential, so that we're able to then bring ourselves back into connection with our higher knowing, and we're able to then be able to give our genius more airtime, and by expressing our genius. And we can do that better because it's flowing. And so it's really easy to get pulled into our fears, right? It's really easy to spiral down when a life event happens, right? It's really easy to cave to the old conditioned subconscious programming that is running behind the scenes in the subconscious, which represents 95% of our being. And so if we're unaware of 95% of what's going on under the surface, and we're behaving and we're emoting and we're having thoughts that are fueled by the stuff that's underneath there, and we don't bring it to our awareness, then how the heck are we supposed to change and grow and thrive and expand and reconnect? So, that really relates to what I was saying yesterday about we experience our life through our senses. We have a sensory experience, which produces a thought, which then produces an emotion, which then produces a behavior that we, settle into, that's conditioned and a repeated pattern. And when I had a couple of people say this morning in the threads, as I was reading inside this group about, I'm just so tired of having the same fear just come up over and over and over again. It just keeps repeating itself, and I just don't know how to get rid of it, were the words. And it just, it sucks you dry, right? It really, really just pulls you down and away from this connection. So I'm going to share 3 ways back to your connection. So number 1 recalibration tool is something that's fairly mainstream that we all are familiar with, I'm willing to bet, and it's calming the noise, it's calming the mind, it's quieting the noise of the subconscious, even the noise of the subconscious. So there's like the conscious thoughts, and then there's all the subconscious thoughts, and it's the subconscious thoughts that are the noisiest, even though they're the sneakiest and they're under the radar. They're buzzing in our cellular structure. They're living in our cellular structure. And so calming the noise using things like meditation and chanting, mantras, movement, yoga, breath work, Reiki, energy work, those types of things calm the nervous system. And hopefully everyone here has experienced some version of that. Maybe you have a practice of doing that. Maybe you had a practice and you let it go. Maybe you've been thinking about adopting a new practice to calm the noise. But it really, really helps to bring yourself back into alignment with your highest, because when the noise is at a dull roar, then I hope you can hear me okay, because my really, really kind neighbor is snow blowing my driveway, and he has no idea that I'm in here doing this. So let me know if it's too disturbing, and then I'll go and ask him to come back. But speaking of noise, so by calming the noise, what's happening is that you're opening up to receive the voice of your soul's message. You're opening up and you're calming your whole nervous system, and then you can start to receive the information and receive the messages from your soul. You can hear the voice, like really quiet whispers that kind of pings you. And so what happens is that we use these practices, and oftentimes we use these practices for years and years and years and years and years, and we make incremental progress with the practices. However, these fears are still incessant and they're still coming through, and we don't know what to do about it. And so if you are recalibrating by using this one tool exclusively, but you're not acting on the message that you're hearing when you do quiet the noise, then you're bypassing the higher intelligence that is giving you the information and giving you the messages to do this or say this or giving you the ideas. And if you don't act on what you're hearing once you've calmed the noise, then you are bypassing your higher knowing, and that fear is going to arise, or that noise is going to keep arising over here and over here and over there and over there, and it'll just keep coming up over and over and over and over again. Snowblower. It's minus 20 here, and there's a ton of snow. So recalibration number 2, therefore, is taking action. Believe it or not, that is a recalibration tool, and in fact, it is the touchstone. So when you take action on the nudge that you've been hearing from your soul, when you've quieted the noise, when you take action and it's telling you to do something, or it's telling you to, say something, and it's giving you information that's beyond your perceived reality of your fear, right? Because that's what your soul does. That's what your genius does, is it gives you information that is beyond your perceived reality as a human. And so when you listen and then you act, you are then in integrity with your soul. You're in integrity with your genius, your integrity with your intuitive knowing. Because the voice of your higher knowing knows what will bring you back to that center point, what your true nature is trying to tell you. And if you don't listen to it and you don't act on it, then you're out of integrity with your higher knowing. If you cave to your fear and therefore avoid doing or saying whatever it's telling you to do or say, or nudging you to do or say or express, because it's all about the expression of our genius, and that's because creative energy is life force itself. And so creatively expressing is life force itself. And so if you're avoiding doing or saying whatever you are being called to express, then you are not in integrity with your soul and not in integrity with your higher knowing. And what happens, you tell me, what happens when we're out of integrity with our higher knowing, with our, with the voice of our soul, is we feel conflicted, we feel at odds, we feel off, we don't know why, we feel empty, we feel there's something missing, we feel unclear, we have brain fog, we have anxiety, we have depression, because we're pressing down the voice of our soul, and that's because we're not in integrity. And so this is herein lies why it's so important to recalibrate, come back over and over and over again to that center. And so, when you are not saying and doing what your soul is asking you to do, and you're holding back, then the energy remains stuck, and the energy remains dense and heavy and unmoving inside of your cellular system, inside of your nervous system, inside of your human structure. And when you take action to recalibrate, what that does is it releases the energy. So you could be scared shitless about doing a live stream or saying something to someone that you've had brewing inside you that you have to speak the truth about, or asking someone out on a date, or speaking a truth, acting in integrity. When you do that, even though you're scared, what that will do is it will release the pent up and the stuck energy. And I promise you, when you do it, you'll experience poof. This release of energy will open your channel, will open the flow once again inside of you. So taking action is paramount, because you can't think and you can't meditate your way out of the stuck, fearful energy. You need to use both of those things in concert with each other. And then the third way that I'm going to talk about is the third keystone, really, to recalibrating. So because you can't think your way out of it, you need to take an action, even if it's scary. And I've worked with some of you here, and we've worked around, taking that scary action. And I know that as soon as you did it, remember, it opened up so much for you. So this is just, it's paramount. I can't stress it enough. So calibration recalibration tool number 3 is embodiment. And so if you find yourself in fear, it's because you're living and operating from the past or the future. You're dwelling on something about the past. You're worrying about something in the past, about what was said, what you did, what you didn't do, how it could have been different, or you're fearing for the future or you're thinking about something not happening in the future. Well, that'll never work. Well, I'll never be able to do that. Well, how on earth? The big how. Don't ruin any what with a how, because that's an absolute recipe for staying in your fear. But how am I going to do that? That's looking into the future, and that's thinking about the future, and that's placing a future event in front of you that you can't control. And so if you find yourself in a place of fear, you're operating either in the past or the future. And so since time is actually an illusion, and this is a whole other body of work, it's a whole other teaching, a whole other master class maybe, but since time is an illusion, it does not exist. The only thing that exists is now. That is not just a cliche, it's quantum physics. So because time is an illusion, you can actually embody a future timeline that actually matches with what you desire, as opposed to with what you fear. Because if you think of yourself in the future timeline in fear and not succeeding, and you're embodying that, and you're embodying it because the fear is like in your body, and you're holding that fear for fear of what's not going to work in the future, then that's what happens. That's a physical reality that gets created. If you embody a future timeline that actually matches with what you want, what you desire, and what you imagine is possible for you, the same is true. And so the art of embodiment lets you really sink in viscerally to the feeling of being there already, being in the result or the outcome or the situation or the relationship, or inside the thriving business, high income generating thriving business with lots of client future reality. When you can sink into the embodiment of feeling it now, then you're actually, because there is no time, that future event is happening. It's already happened. If you can imagine something or perceive something, then that means that it's not only possible, but it's already happened. You just haven't caught up to it yet. And I know this might be, a little confusing for some people, but so don't worry if it is, and just think about the idea that if you when you close your eyes and visualize. Law of attraction talks to us about visualizing ourselves already experiencing, having what we want, having our desires. And so what the embodiment piece is a step beyond law of attraction that talks about visualizing it. It takes it from visualizing it to actually viscerally sinking somatically into the body of the vision. And your imagination is capable of doing that. And we've all been told, oh, it's all in your imagination, and our imaginations have been dismissed for so often since we've been born, and as we were raised, and that magic of imagination was more potent as a kid, and then the more you grew and the older you became, that magic and that imagination kind of it got squashed. And so imagination is no less real than your intuition, than your higher knowing. And so reconnecting with your imagination, embodying what it is you're imagining yourself, as or to be, whatever that reality that you really, really hold so dearly, and want, that you feel that you can't grasp because you're busy in the how. you're busy in the physical reality of, well, how am I going to do that? How am I going to, how am I ever going to do that? And that is the exact thing that actually, hi Shelly, hi Indy, that's the exact thing that actually prevents you from quantum jumping, from jumping timelines. You can jump into a future timeline, and that is called quantum jumping, by using the embodiment recalibration tool. So I get really excited about these tools because I know that they work, and I've tested them for years and tried them and applied them for years in my life, and in and for clients' lives, and I've seen result after result after result after result. And inside of the 3 keystones, in my opinion, inside of these 3 keystones of calming your mind, taking action with the message that your soul voice is giving you when you have calmed your mind, and then embodying the reality that you wish for yourself, inside of those are lots and lots and lots and lots of associated recalibration tools that I've developed, and that I've actually developed into a tool. So I have a prompt for you around this, and the prompt is, and the prompt is an action prompt. It's around the action piece. It's around the action keystone of recalibration. Because, and this is why I say that the action piece is the most potent to shift the energy, unlock the energy, right? That's locked in there, and that's stuck, and that's dense, and that's holding you down, and that's suppressing your soul. So the prompt is, what's something you've been holding back from doing or saying? And that's something, what's a truth that you've been holding back from speaking? What's something that you've been holding back from doing or saying? And I would invite you to think on this, reflect on this, journal on this, be super honest with yourself. And if you are feeling brave, share in the group. Because again, as you express what's in your soul, what's going on in here under the surface, you're releasing energy. The energetic field in you is starting to expand. And that's one way to start moving the energy, because when we are wrought with emotion is energy in motion. It just wants to move. And when we're wrought with emotion and it's stuck there and it's immovable, that's when we get sick, right? Mentally, physically, spiritually. And when we start moving the energy, that's what starts happening is we start opening the channel to flow, and we recalibrate, and we bring ourselves back to the opening that we're creating and connecting with the higher knowing inside of ourselves. Can I borrow yours, because mine seems to be broken? Tool that says yours been working for years. Absolutely. I'm going to be making the tool available. Actually, I have a surprise for you guys. And the thing is I just want to I want to offer this, Eddie, right now, is I want to tweak your language, because words are really, 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 really powerful. And when you refer to yourself as broken, that is energy that's really dense. So, just maybe tweak the word around broken. And, one of the tenets that I live, coach, live, breathe, work within is that people are not broken. They're just not broken. They think they're broken, but they're not broken. Or that their systems are broken. And just wanted to offer that up around language, because words are super powerful. Words are expression, right? And as you express, if you're expressing, something like that, then you're actually creating that reality for yourself, and you're keeping it true. So this is so enlightening for me. I'm so glad, Stuart. What part? Feel free to share if you like. Okay. So, are there any other questions? if not, excellent. Yes, we are never broken. Yeah, never. Never, never. So, yes, there are all kinds of tools that are available, and I'm really excited because I am making this tool available inside of my newly designed program that I am unveiling tomorrow for all of you on day 5 of this challenge. I am so excited about it. It's just something that's so intuitively downloaded and that is so in alignment with this, with the glimpse of training and wisdom, little nuggets that you've received in these 5 days. There's one more day tomorrow. And super excited because this program is my baby, and it's a signature program that I believe is changing lives already. And I know this because it's a collection of all the work I've been doing with clients for years and years, and with myself. Nothing that I share is something that I haven't experienced. It's not because I've read about this stuff. It's because I've experienced it and embodied it and brought it into my life and transformed myself from the inside out. So I'm really excited about it, and I'm going to be announcing it tomorrow. So big announcement tomorrow, and the recalibration tool is actually something that's part of that program. So, all right, damaged. Are you asking, Shelley, if that's a better word? You know how you can tell? Here's the way that you can tell when you say I'm broke, and I don't know if you're referring to you. I'm just sort of, laying it out as you use the words, depending on what reference you're making, right? So the word damaged and broken holds a heaviness. There's a contraction in my body when I say it. Check it out, Shelley. What does it feel like in your body? Is it contractive? Versus other words, like expansive and illuminated and connected and radiant and genius, brilliant and shining. And the thing is to make the leap from your current reality to this new reality. You can't do it overnight, and you can't take the leap from here all the way to here in one foul swoop. It's doing the work of recalibrating over and over and over and over and over again. And as you find small ways to reconnect in every moment that you see opportunity to do that, what you're building is trust in your divine, higher, intuitive genius knowing, because every time you allow it back in again, you're feeling it, you're back in relationship with it, you're reconnected with it, and therefore building trust. So this is a process of building your trust muscle, and if you need to start small with the small things, then that's what I definitely invite you to do. Today is day 4, isn't it? I feel blessed that you are willing to share this with us. I do too. I feel really privileged. Kind of makes me want to cry, sharing, this is just, it's my genius. You have a genius that is enormously beneficial and valuable, and it's just waiting and pining to just I'm doing a lot of this today. There's a lot of energy today. I wrote that tongue-in-cheek because I'm kind of stuck, and it has been years. And yeah, I understand that you wrote it tongue-in-cheek, and at the same time, language and words have power. So even when you're kidding, right, or even when you're saying them tongue-in-cheek, it holds an energy. It holds a power. That's really what I'm wanting to impart to you. So today is day 4. I think you mistyped on the title of this live stream. Oh, thanks, Rebecca. Okay, I'll change that. What did I say? Day 3 or 5? All right. So wounded, we can begin healing, transcendence. Yeah, absolutely. There's just so much opportunity for us to do that. I just read the book Law of Attraction by Michael Loiser. And he said, don't use the words don't and not and no. Instead, do yourself. So what do I want? Right. And you know what's really interesting about that is our subconscious doesn't hear the words don't, can't, no, the negative words. So if you say, I don't want that, what it hears is, I want that. If you say, I can't do that, then what it hears is, I do that. And so what you're doing is really, really wanting to be watchful and careful about your language. Just and maybe that's another prompt for today. Prompt number 2 is, notice the words that you're using, catch yourself and feel into, how does that feel? Is it contractive or is it expansive? Because words are energy, thoughts are energy, words are energy, they come from your thoughts. And as you express them, then you're fueling them with even more energy. So, love the thought of building your trust muscle. Yes. And it was you, Manya, who actually said something so beautiful. And you said, trust your love and love your trust. And I have, ever since you spoke those words, I have really, really embodied that and held them close in regards to, as you're building your trust, love it. Love the trust that you're building and trust the love that you have as you're building your trust. Just so beautiful. So, all right. So, are there any other questions for today? That is it for today. And I'm really looking forward to tomorrow with my big announcement. And I hope you can hop on live. And because there will be a time-limited opportunity to come into my program at a ridiculously low price. And that is because I really want to make it available for as many people who can move forward with it and basically move into deeper understanding and deeper consciousness and deeper work around the inner core, intuitive building and genius expression, and turn that into their 3D reality, turn that into a thriving business, turn that into a really bang-on message that attracts the soul clients that are just ready to pay you. So anything we want to create on the outside, we do need to create something brand new on the inside. We need to shift what's inside in order to create that external reality. So whatever you want is available. Whatever you want is possible for you. So I'm really looking forward to working with more of you on shifting what's happening internally and making your dreams a reality for sure. Hi, Yorna. Yes, that's exactly what the book says. And the same does of The Secret, if I recall, right as I read that seconds before. Yeah, for sure. I find myself being self-deprecating as a joke to make others feel comfortable. Remember when I was talking earlier, Stuart, about our fear of shining because we don't want to outshine others. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. We don't want to make them less than. So we're going to be small and we're going to make fun of ourselves. That's a behavior that we do. So yeah, I hear you, which is weird. I'm not sure why I do that. Yeah, your fear of your own power and, your own shine. And that is what we want to bust. That is what we want to overcome and break through and step through to the other side and really express our genius so that it really, really contributes to creating the life that we're here to live and to contribute to creating a better planet because we're imparting our gifts. Title for your next book, yeah, great, thanks, Julie. You're welcome, Marianne. Thank you, you're welcome, Vicky, no problem at all. And yeah, it is hard to break, and that's why we need to do the inner work. At least I'm catching myself now. Yeah, and that's the first step. Start catching yourself. So that is prompt number 2. Start catching yourself with where you're using deprecating, self-deprecating words or self-deprecating language or dense negative language, because that all of those small things that you do contribute wholly to then turning it into a full, aligned, in integrity expression from your soul. Because your soul, do you think your soul would use those words? Do you think your soul would do that? It doesn't. No, it doesn't. So recalibrate, and hope this has been helpful for you. And Abraham Hicks also talks about that in embodiment, using different words but principles. Yeah, different for sure. Yeah, language is just so huge, and we embody our words. We embody our energy, and so it's finding one of the things that I've done and I do with clients is finding that really connected and resonant mantra, because a lot of people talk about affirmations, and it's been a practice that a lot of people have used. And for myself, I always found that I would read an affirmation or read about affirmations or hear someone else's affirmation, and I would say it to myself, but it didn't have the charge, it didn't have the resonance for me. And so, of course, being wired the way I am, I looked for what really had the resonance for me. So that is an art, is being able to really land in the resonant words for yourself, that when you say them, and for me, I have a couple of phrases, but for everyone, you have your own personal, let's say, personalized, unique, resonant phrases or words that you can develop and pull on and pull through when you're needing to recalibrate. Because when you use those words and you say them, they hold a certain power and frequency that is coded directly with your highest frequency. And when you say them, you find yourself expanding and going, so yes. All right, I will definitely write down today's prompts on the page, and no problem that you have forgotten them. That's okay. Thanks for joining today, everybody, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.